Hey, thanks for hanging out. I'm Rachelle Leanne, and you're listening to Thoughts About That. Hello, Catasha.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey. You look so cute. I'm so glad you're here today, and it worked out that we got on your calendar really quickly. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was we kind of popped in here on a fast notice, but we got to do what we got to do.
That's right. That's right. I'm here today with Catasha Gordon, and she is the sexologist that you want to know. Okay.
I mean, you know,
I think so.
The people talk.
People do talk. How do people find you?
Mostly through other people.
Okay.
A lot of my work comes from somebody else telling somebody that I do stuff. Sometimes they tell people that I do stuff that I don't do. And so they be like, my friend said that you know how to fix my marriage. And I'm like, girl, I don't know how to do that. But I mean.
Right. That's not a part of what I do.
Mostly people just recommend me.
Okay. People recommend you. So you call yourself a holistic sex educator, yes, and you're a part of like national associations. Yes. Okay. So you tell me how you got into this work.
How I got into this work. I was doing it for free. A whole bunch throughout my life. And then I said, y'all playing in my face and I need my coin. But it mostly just happened because I have a knack. I don't know what it is. I've always had it for people being able to open up to me.
What is that?
I have no idea. Like I would be sitting in the airport and make a friend next to me. And next thing you know, we talking about her butthole. And like that is that's completely normal conversation. Like I was at the dentist getting my teeth cleaned. I was at the dentist getting my teeth cleaned. And I told the lady who was cleaning my teeth what I did. And we spent the whole next hour and a half talking about her ablations, talking about her sex life. Like, oh, wow. Yeah. So like, it's a natural thing that I've always had. And because I've been doing it so long, I have a lot of different people's experiences on a thing. So if you have a thing, I've probably already ran into a whole bunch of other people who have that thing.
You mean like a kink thing?
Yeah, like a kink thing or even just a problem. Like if you just have vaginal dryness or erectile dysfunction or any of those things, where else are you supposed to talk those types of things, right? And those are very critical parts of your sex life. Mm-hmm. And so when people find that place, they dump it. Right. They dump it all. And so I just kind of got into it doing that. I saw a need and I knew that I was a special kind of person to handle it because it doesn't make me uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And when you think about it, statistically, only 30% of people talk to their doctors about their sex lives. Damn. And doctors are also not bringing it up. Like they're in the teens on how often they bring up your sex life as a patient. So
yeah, doctors don't ever really, yeah.
Right.
That's
so
wild.
Who are you supposed to talk to that? Right. Who are you supposed to talk to about that? Right. So that's how it came to be. It turned into a thing that I was just doing. And then I wanted to learn more so that I could do it better. Mm-hmm. And I just kept learning. So like you say that doctors don't, in the medical industry, we don't talk about sex. We don't talk about sex in school. We don't talk about sex in our families. We don't talk about sexual health.
We don't talk about sexual health. And so this big part of our lives, where are we supposed to talk about it? So you're just like, I'm going to just start meeting with people and charging their asses.
So I started on Craigslist.
Really? I love that.
I started on Craigslist. So I started my practice on Craigslist. And the thing about that is that, you know, everybody always considers Craigslist this deviant place with all these people, and all of those people are people who just don't have a place to go and talk about the things that they have going on. And so in all that time, I did it exclusively on Craigslist for maybe a year, maybe a year or two. Wow. And in that time, I never ran into a deviant. I never had any issues, never had any problems, any of that.
These were just real people with real problems.
Real people who just like wearing lace or who just appreciated someone else having sex with their partner and wanted to know why they felt that way and like what that means. And so it's all
where else will you put that? I mean, now we have like Reddit, I guess.
Right.
But you just kind of putting it out into the ethers.
And hoping
that somebody responds.
So I try to go where they are. Like, I try to go where people need help and where people are honest about the help they need. Even if, like, and when you go on Craigslist, like, some of those things are just like, you know, people, whatever. But like, I've met some pretty high profile people, like people that you would never expect.
Wow.
That I have sat across from and had to talk to them about their sex lives. And like,
that's dope.
They are just appreciative to have a place to do that.
You're like the sex whisperer.
I am. I'm a dick coochie whisperer.
You're a coochie whisperer. And you know what? I feel like in one of my previous episodes, we talked about a little bit about LGBTQ and religiosity. And so how has that work been here for you in the Bible Belt? Like, how does that look?
So
I can't imagine this being a place we like to talk about coochie.
You'd be surprised. Okay. But it is a place where people secretly talk about coochie and then get out loud and say, oh my God, coochie is horrible. You should not be using it for that. But when they get to me, they can be themselves. And so that's what you find out with a lot of those people is that they're wearing that religion as a coat. And, you know, they want to show it off. They put it on, they fold it up so you can see it and turn all around. But then when it's time to actually do the work, they know they got to take the coat off. Right. And so one of the most important parts of that for me was deconstructing my own religion, because I did grow up here. Yep. You know, I grew up Baptist. I got baptized when I was like 7. Wow. And so I had to unlock and deconstruct all of that to be able to be the best service to the people that I'm helping. Right. Because I didn't want to bring any of those barriers into someone else. So I became atheist. Well, not atheist. I'm agnostic, which means I don't care.
Right.
So I really don't.
That is the best description. Oh my God.
I do not care. I literally don't care. I believe in people. And I believe that if you want to do something, that you have the power to do everything that you want to do. Mm-hmm. You don't have to go get it. If you need to go get it from somewhere else, I fully support that. Mm-hmm. But you as a standalone individual have the ability to do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that people believe that. And that's why they don't give themselves that space and that grace.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, Catasha, because deconstruction, I mean, I'm still in mine. And I mean, I went to a church here locally. I'm not going to name drop. But like the preacher fully stood at the top, at the stage to all these people, multi-site locations, and said, you can't masturbate.
Yeah.
I was in my 20s. And imagine hearing this and then all of the other Black people also in community groups and stuff like this also hearing this. And it was just a confusing time.
Right.
And so deconstructing myself has been amazing, by the way. 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 recommend to be unraveled.
Yes.
But like, it's wild. Like,
it is wild, especially when you know what goes on in those communities.
Especially when you know.
And so that's always been my biggest thing is that I don't care what you're talking about because I'm watching what you do.
Right.
And that's always the real key to who people are. Right. So even though I am agnostic, I feel like my moral character is so much wider than other people's because I make space for everyone.
Make space.
And when you have to make space for everyone, you have to be able to protect the space that you created. Mm-hmm. And so that is very, very big for me.
Yes.
And a lot of times it doesn't allow for that. And even if you think about sex, I'm married. I'm a married woman. I don't have any children outside of my marriage. I don't have any children, period. But even they don't think that I'm qualified to talk about sex. Even in my marriage, I am married to someone who loves me. And even in that, they don't give the space for those people to experience sexual pleasure within their marriage. Mm-hmm. So there is no space that sex is not controlled when you start putting those barriers and start putting those coats on. Right. And you got a bubble vest, you got a coat, you got a long sleeve, you got long johns, you got all this other stuff on, and all that stuff is just smothering your pleasure. Right. And you have to take it off and unravel it to be able to understand what you even like. Right. You don't even know what you like.
And I think there's a lot of reason why some people deal with depression, because it's like there's no pleasure. So it's like, you know, where are you getting that dopamine rush from?
But that's very, very real, because pleasure in itself has been outlawed. And, you know, religion is one of the main, just telling you can't masturbate. You can't eat this. You can't wear this. You can't do that. Like, that doesn't take any of your autonomy into account, right? But that's the purpose of it. And again, I'm not against religion. If it makes you better, I'm 100% for it. But if it is stifling you and if you feel like it is uncomfortable, if you feel like you're going against your body, and like your body has its own needs and desires. Right. You were a sexual being from the moment you were able to play, move your fingers. There are children playing with themselves in utero. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Like there are sonograms of children who are masturbating in utero. Crazy. So that is not even something that like is being taught to you. That is a natural right that you have. You have the access and the right to your body. But society and religion and all these other things, especially if you are femme or femme presenting, you don't have access. You don't have control over your body. You don't get to enjoy sex. You don't get to enjoy things. You just get to be there. Right. Sex becomes something that happens to you and not something that you are a part of. You don't get to choose what color I like, what size I want. You don't get any of that. Right. And so that's what all of that does, is that it tells you that you don't deserve these things. You don't deserve pleasure. Even when you're talking about non-sexual pleasure, think about the things that we like to eat, the places that we like to go. Mm-hmm. You know, we're always told, you shouldn't be down there. Don't eat that. You know how many calories is in that? That's going to have you up all night. I like it. Like it. So the things that we find pleasure in, there's always going to be a subset of people trying to tell us that we don't need that.
That we don't need it.
And the thing is that sometimes you don't, right? Mm-hmm. But you should be able to pick when you don't. Right. And that is the thing that we don't allow people to do. We don't allow people to pick their pleasures. We allow them to pick the pleasures that we give them.
That's true. That's real. You know, pleasure is not even something that was ever associated in any space that I've learned about sex.
And it's the biggest part.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you talk about overall health, and, you know, I'm a sex educator, so of course I think that my work impacts so much, but if people were more sexually healthy, they would be happier.
What does sexually healthy look like?
It means it looks like getting the things that you want out of your sex life, getting the desire, getting that dopamine rush from your sex. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people are having sex and nothing's even happening. They're just doing it because they're supposed to do it or because they want to do it, because they're not getting the type of stimulation that their body desires. Right. And that's different for every type of person. But we don't know that because everybody just watches porn and assumes that this is how you're supposed to have sex, not realizing that you are watching two actors acting. Right. These people are not in pleasure. They are acting for your enjoyment. Right. You are watching Viola Davis and Samuel L. Jackson give you the performance of their life while they're naked. Right. You don't know if either one of those people are enjoying that experience. Right. So how do you find out what you like? How do I find sexually what kind of stroke do I like? What kind of pressure do I like? What kind of stimulation do I like? Where do I like that stimulation? Right. But we're not doing that. So we get in bed and we just expect the other person to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, now this is where I go in on women all the time, because women are champion orgasm fakers. For no reason. Let me say this again. No person wants you to fake an orgasm. Nobody wants that.
Why do you think women do it? For ego protection or?
No. Scientifically, they did a study on this. Women value, and I say women because the study was on women. It wasn't on, AFAB or trans women or anything like that. It was only on women. Okay. Women value their partner's orgasm more than they value their own.
Damn, that's pretty sad.
So in the study, it was a study called Determinants of Orgasm something. determinants of something. And it's a whole bunch of information in there that they collected about like orgasm statistics and studies. And the studies say that like 50, don't get me on these numbers, but I want to say 50% of the women valued their partner's orgasm, or either said it was very important, more than they said their own. Like their partner's orgasm was more important than their own.
And why do you think that is?
It's because, so I have asked a whole lot of women this, and it is because women believe that they're supposed to be fantastic in bed. And because men can come so easily, if they don't make that happen, they take that personally.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's supposed to happen so easily, like they take that personally. But you don't have to include your fake orgasm in there for him
His pleasure.
Right. And the thing is that if you talk to men and you ask them, they will absolutely tell you, I want to know what to do. Tell me what to do. I have never had a man sit across from me and say, she just got to take what I got to give her. They want to know, but it takes the other person deconstructing how they have, what they've built around the orgasm, the feelings they've built around it. Because it just automatic. I've talked to hundreds of women. I've done hundreds of events. And I asked them, why are y'all faking orgasm? They said, I don't know, but I know I be in there putting on my best performance. Why?
That doesn't sound like anyone that is aware of their pleasure.
Right, because that is not something that they've ever been focused on. So when we had sex ed, even though you have all these nerves and all these things in your body, you have all of these feel-good places, you're told that you're never supposed to explore them. You don't know, and the only way you know it feels good is if somebody did that to you once. Like, they did a thing. And then so that guy takes that thing that he did, that he knows that you liked, and he goes and does it to someone else, and she doesn't like it. You might not have even liked it, but you was in there acting and putting on this show. And so it is being able to say, finding the space to say, hey, I like it when you do this. Right. Or I really like when you put this much pressure on it. Or I love it when you touch me like this. Mm-hmm. Instead of just taking what you got and putting on a performance and not being satisfied. Because even though women do not have orgasms normally during heterosexual sex, orgasm is the number one predictor of sexual satisfaction. In every case. It is still the number one predictor. So even though, women have gotten into this circle where they say, I don't need to have an orgasm to have a good time. That's cool. But when you ask them, when they take the coat off and ask them, the orgasm is very important. Right. That's what you say when you're trying to lessen the blow for your partner because they can't do it or because you can't do it or whatever. You say, I can still enjoy this experience, which you can. But if you are not getting that orgasm, you don't consider your sexual health at the
priority.
Peak. Yeah, you don't consider it at the peak of doing what it's supposed to do because you're not getting that orgasm. Yes, you're enjoying sex, but you're not getting the full effect of it.
The full shebang, yeah.
And so when you look at that and you have to talk to people about like what they really want and what they really like, they want an orgasm.
Mm-hmm. We're in this time right now where I shared a video on my timeline, but people are touch starved right now.
Yes, it's not even right now. It becomes like you are, as a baby, you have, you have needs you have touch needs. Right. That is built into you. It is not something that you are. It is not something that you grow. You have that, and you can teach yourself not to need it based on the trauma and whatever you have going on in your life. Right. But as a whole human being, you require touch. Right. But we don't do that. We don't even take the time to do that. But it's not necessarily just all our faults. Everything in our lives is so sped up because we have so many different places pulling at us. So when you think about a husband and wife who have children. Okay. Wife has a job, husband has a job. Kids have sports, school, homework. They need attention. You have friends that you're supposed to keep up with. So you have all of these different things. When you put sex in there, it's a thing that you have to do quickly. You need to have it done because it's time your body feels that it's time I'm ready to have sex. But you don't have the time to make it an experience. Right. All you have to do is time to do the sex. We going to do oral sex for about 5-6 minutes. And then we're going blah, blah, blah. And like, that's a lot of people's lives because they're tired from work. They're tired from kids. They're tired from all these other things. And you don't have the energy. And that's why you have to make the time. Mm-hmm. Like your sexual health is so important because it inadvertently affects all of your other health, your physical health. If you don't have sex regularly, you run the risk of heart disease. You run the risk of prostate cancer, more like a higher risk of prostate cancer. Like you can literally, if you keep stress in your body.
Yeah. And it doesn't get out.
Yeah. And it doesn't get out. You don't. And that's a release. That's a free release that you have. Yeah. Being able to engage in sex with someone that you care about and someone that you can like get that dopamine rush from. Right. And a lot of times sex is happening, but that dopamine rush is not happening because you're not really involved or interested in what's going on. Right. So when you make it into a way that you feed your body, it helps your overall health. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'm absolutely one of those people who gets upset when I don't have sex.
Really?
Yes. I will turn this house upside down. What are you talking about?
And so can I ask how many times a week do you have sex?
So not as much as I want to, but that's not my fault. But a week, we probably have sex maybe once a week. Okay. I would like that to be 2 or 3 times a week. Okay. But sometimes we'll get in the phone and we'll go a couple days in a row, like 4 or 5 days in a row. Yeah.
And that's frequent for today and everything that people have going on.
Right. And so, especially with, me and my husband, we both work. My husband, he is an engineer and he's also a producer and he got an 18-year-old and, these teenagers is crazy. And so like, it's a lot. It's a lot for both of us. So we try to like squeeze it in, but like we don't have the life right now, but we're working toward that. Like we absolutely know that this is something that we want to do more often, but like making the time to do it. Like sometimes we'll make plans like, man, I'm going to tear your ass up when I get there. As soon as I get home and then get home and be like, can I just lay down? I just need like 3 hours. Like, cause you'd be so exhausted from like going out, doing work, doing people stuff. So I think that however much you like to have sex, you have to make the time to do that.
I don't even think people know how often they want to have sex. And then if you're dating, how does that happen? If you're not, living with someone and you're dating,
it's easy. Fuck yourself.
Okay. Yeah. Solo pleasure.
Yeah. So here's the thing. People don't rely on solo pleasure enough. Okay. They don't. The expectation is that you're supposed to get that dopamine, that rush from your partner. Mm. No, you can get it from yourself. You can fully do all the things that you expect your partner to do and do it for yourself. Light a candle, run a bath, rub yourself down, make it do more than just, putting the vibrator where it needs to go. And but that's the thing. Like, we don't do that. We don't.
It takes effort. That takes energy.
But it takes effort to have sex.
It does.
So, like, you have to make that time. You have to make the time for yourself and then share that with your partner. So that's the number one thing that I tell people, especially when you talk to couples and they're like, it's not enough sex. Are you fucking yourself? I do. Now, if we talk about all the sex that I have, I probably about 4 times a week.
Okay. Like, so you are sexually healthy.
I would hope so. I would hope, but I know that.
But it's a priority in your life.
It's a priority for me. So I make sure my stuff is always plugged up. If I think in the morning, like, I'm gonna rub one out tonight, I go plug my rose up. I'm gonna go plug up this Hitachi worm.
That's how I am with my Theragun. I guess I need to add that one. But yeah, you're right.
Like, you have to make that time. And even when you are having sex with yourself, it should not be just a grumpy getting it out because, I need it and the other person can't give it to me. You should be able to please yourself, not just have an orgasm, but please yourself. Yeah. So, it's a journey.
So hell yeah, it is. So making pleasure a priority, whether it's solo or, if you're, partnered, then you need to talk about it to be able to, make sure that you're planning it in and it's not just a quickie or whatever.
Right. And let me say, quickies are fine. Mm-hmm. If they are both agreed upon, we only have 5 minutes, the kids come in from practice and we got to get it done, that's fine. But that should not be all of your sex. That should be 10 to 15% of your sex life is having to get it in pretty quick. Mm-hmm. But when you think about sex, people have a linear idea. Mm-hmm. It's penis and vagina. Like lesbians don't exist. And like, you know, homosexual men don't exist. There are people having all kinds of sex that is more than penis and vagina.
Right. Yeah.
So we have to expand our ideas, especially when you think of all the types of orgasms you can have.
Right. I just watched a TikTok about that this morning. She was talking about the 4 different types of orgasm that a cooch can have. And I was like, I never categorized them like that.
Yeah, so they did a study and they used a toy. I can't remember the name of the toy, but it's like a wave, pelvic spasms. Like you have like
different parts.
Yeah. And so when you have it, and this is one of the things that I learned that I use in my orgasm training, because a lot of times women don't think they never had orgasms. And you actually probably have. It just doesn't feel like the clitoral orgasm that you usually have. So you don't think that you're having orgasms, but you absolutely are. Okay. You absolutely are. And once you learn to lean into those other types of orgasms, like it'll start becoming a journey for you. You'll be able to figure out, like I can come and I'll be like, okay, that one came from in my cervix. Like I'll know where, and I can stack them. Right. So being able to blend your orgasms and to be able to stimulate more than one area at a time is going to give you a more powerful type of orgasm and different feelings and different, you know, bursts when you get to the top of it. And so sometimes it's a wave. Okay. And sometimes it's just pelvic contractions. Yeah. And when you think about squirting orgasms, you can actually have 3 types of squirting orgasms.
So, wow, that just factored it out because I heard about 4, squirting was 1. So you're saying now there's 4 under a squirting orgasm, you could have a squirting orgasm that comes from your bladder, which triggers the contents of your bladder to release. You can have a orgasm from your Skene's gland that contains PSAs, which is prostatic specific antigens, which are like educate me, Catasha.
Okay, so you can have those. You can have a squirting orgasm for your bladder. You can have one from your Skene's gland that contains the PSAs, and you can have one from your Skene's gland that contains no PSAs. So the one from your bladder comes from your urethra, right? And the other ones come out of your Skene's gland.
And that's the one that feels like you're peeing.
Yes, that's the one that feels like you're peeing. But the other ones are activated through your Skene's gland. And so they produce a fluid that doesn't necessarily shoot. It might dribble because it's coming from a different type of place.
It makes sense that she talked about the dribble one.
And the thing about, I keep hitting it, sorry. The thing about the orgasm is that the orgasm actually happens in your mind. And your body reacts to the.
So it's like an earthquake.
Yeah. So you'll get the rumble. Right. And then the body's like, okay, let's go. And then it's like, whoa. Ooh. So you can have an orgasm from not stimulating anything. Just if you are in tune with your body.
Like a sapiosexual.
Yeah. No. So a sapiosexual gets turned on from having
intellectual conversations.
Right. Having a mind orgasm is being still, not stimulating any parts of your body and using your memories or your thoughts to arouse you, get you hot, and create an orgasm.
In your mind.
In your mind. You have them when you sleep. You don't have any control over the orgasms you have in your sleep.
Wow. Okay.
So that can happen without any kind of stimulation. You can have an orgasm without touching any part of your erogenous zones. So when you think of that, just that fact, I can have an orgasm just sitting. You really realize the scope of...
There's a spectrum of orgasms. Yes. It's not just this one thing.
Right.
70, what is it? 30, only 30%, 3 out of 10 women experience vaginal orgasms. So
very few women have orgasms from just vaginal intercourse. Mm-hmm. Very few women. And
a lot of people out here aren't experiencing orgasms. Is that what we're saying?
That's what we're saying.
Okay.
Yes, that's what we're saying. And so even when you talk about cis men, you talk about cis hetero men, yes, they experience 90% of orgasms, but they have an array of orgasms they can have as well. That they're not having. They could have retrograde, and sometimes they do. So if you as a penis holder have ever had an orgasm and nothing came out, that is considered a retrograde ejaculation. And you can do a retrograde ejaculation and never have to stop fucking.
I've never heard of this.
So the ejaculation is what makes the penis go down after.
Right.
If you don't ejaculate, you can stay hard. And so what'll happen is instead of the ejaculation coming through the urethra like it usually does, it goes back into the body. It can go into the bladder if, depending on how you do it, or it can be reabsorbed back into the body. Wow. And you can keep having sex if you experience a retrograde ejaculation.
And dudes don't even be knowing this.
They don't even know. Because it's so easy for them, they just do the thing that they know how to do. And that's what sexual health is.
And it's no expansion.
Right. It's understanding that your body can do so many things that you have no idea.
That's crazy. So okay, I'm going to throw this one at you. Do you think that being with one person can meet your needs?
It depends. So everybody's sexual needs are very, very different, right? And so what if you're with someone who has no desire? What
like asexual?
What if I'm with someone who's asexual? Then I might need another person to fulfill my sexual needs, because there's nothing wrong with the person who's asexual. They're not obligated to give me the sex that I want. So you might need to bring someone else in or have that conversation with your partner and, make room for other people, because sex is sacred. It's yours, right? And so you don't get to have access to someone else's just because you want it. You can find someone who wants to give it to you.
And see, that's the missing link, I think. That have you ever watched The Principles of Pleasure on Netflix?
No.
Okay. Well, I feel like that's a missing piece, because, monogamy pretty much teaches, this is...
You got to accept
You got to accept this. This is how you're living for the rest of your life, unless you want a divorce.
Right.
And go play, or move on with your life. But
that's so unrealistic.
It's very unrealistic. And I think that it's something that we need to talk about, because, our parents, a lot of them were miserable.
So first of all, my mom and daddy was not together. And I was conceived when my daddy was married.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I'm saying. You look at the people who are making these rules and the people who are pushing these rules, they're not even following them.
Not even fucking following them.
They just want
God, they're not.
They just want you to do it.
They just want you to do. They're trying to control the cooch. And it's like, for what?
It is very much that.
It is very much that. Like, it's like the TikTok ban. Like, y'all just trying to, get our focus on this so that y'all can go and
y'all doing too much banding together.
Right. So, I think this is beautiful, because I feel like that, especially now, like, we're older millennials, and, aunties didn't talk about that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, we're in this place now where we're trying to learn our own pleasure. There's people that are... I watched a TikTok of a woman who said she is in the house 6 out of 7 days of the week. She only has human contact that one day when she goes to the store, or go to the office, go work at her office. And so if you can imagine, that's a lot of time without touch.
It is.
That's a lot of time without conversation, without pleasure, without. And so there's actually this book, and I'm going to leave it in the show notes, but it's called Together, and it's by, I believe, the former Surgeon General of the United States. But he talked about the pandemic that we're actually having is the pandemic of loneliness.
So that was the pandemic that we were in when we were there. Like, I was watching people cry from being alone there. And so, but for some people, my husband is a hermit. He loves it. He loves being in the house. Like, 6 days in the house is nothing to him. He's fine. But like other people, I'm very social. So for me, it was detrimental. I have to make reasons to go out of the house.
Yes.
Like, and so that's me taking my own autonomy and my own priorities and saying, I can't sit in here.
I can't sit in here.
Like, and so that's the thing.
That's huge, man.
And that's why I think that this is not what we were talking about, but I honestly believe that sex work should be legal.
You do?
I absolutely do. I absolutely believe sex work should be legal. And because you shouldn't have to manipulate someone to get the thing that you need. And that's what's happening, is that when sex is the driver, people are willing to manipulate you to get it. no matter who you are, man or woman, or trans or whoever, and that's very dangerous for them. And that's the biggest issue is that with trans individuals is that people are willing to try to manipulate them. You don't even know what they want. You don't even care.
Right.
You don't even care. You have a fetish or you have a thing that you want to do and, they making all these rules. Nobody's asking them what they want. And so I honestly believe that sex work should be legal.
Yeah.
So you should be able to go out and pay somebody for all the shit that you want to do because there is someone who will take your money to do it.
Yeah. We see people paying for feet.
So think if you were married. You've been married for 21 years. Your wife is a good Christian woman and your kids are grown and now you want to get peed on. Now I want to get peed on. Can I go to Barbara Ann and say, Barbara Ann,
No, you can't.
Take your $300 and take it to a building and get that fixed. Pay him or her for that service and go on about your business.
Well, if we do that and we accept that, then we first have to accept that kink is okay. And your pleasure, your desire for getting peed on is okay. A lot of people still think that that's, some R. Kelly type shit.
I know. But so you can't control that. That's the thing is that I have never been able to control what people think about what I do.
So how do you control the shame or how do you deal with the shame
There is no shame. The shame that you're hearing is their shame. It's not
projecting.
Yours. Yeah. I'm not ashamed. I like what the fuck I like.
Right.
I don't understand how and why am I embarrassed? I'm having the time of my life. So it's seriously, you have to make it a priority. You have to tell yourself that you deserve that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to get peed on. It's just like everybody wearing those big red boots.
You remember those boots?
Everybody hates those fucking boots, but somebody keep going out and buying them and styling them, and y'all not gonna tell them they can't wear them dumbass boots.
And they gonna wear them.
And they gonna
and make a video about
and
it.
Be flowing in those boots. So that's what I'm saying. When you decide that you're gonna be the person you're gonna be, it don't matter what other people think about your boots.
But if we don't have a safe space to talk about these things, I'm not going to talk about this in my Bible study. Not that I go to Bible study, but, because, I'm thinking right now, if I really wanted to talk about this, I have about 2 people in my life that I could talk to. I could book a session with you. That's 3 people outside of Reddit.
Okay. Well, seems like you got a whole bunch of people on Reddit, though.
Okay.
So that's what it is finding your community.
Mm-hmm.
That is...
I feel like I find my community on TikTok.
So if that's where it is, that's where it is. Mm-hmm. So there are always people who are willing to talk to you about the thing. You just have to go where they're at. Mm-hmm. I'm not the only sex educator in this world.
Right.
And if you don't like the way that I teach, that's what I tell people all the time. There are so many people that deliver this information in the way that you can have it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give it to you like this, but you don't have to take it like this. You can take it another way. For whatever you need, there is someone in sex education who provides that service. And I'm support everybody who do everything, sex workers, everything, because they are providing a need all the time.
And you don't think we look at sex as a need?
No. They are providing a need. Yeah. And watching people live unapologetically as themselves, you can't do anything but respect that.
You can't.
You can't do anything but respect it. And so I know all these people who do all this weird ass kinky shit, and I respect the hell out of it because I know what it takes to go and spend $2,000 on a rubber suit because that's what you like.
Wow.
Do you understand when you decide to walk in your purpose, how big you become? When I decide that this is what I'm going to do, and that's why I say sexual health is so important, because once you build the blocks to make your sexual health better, you can use the same processes to make the rest of your life better.
Yeah, that's true.
Once you strip off the shame and everything that comes around sex and you start becoming you, it will help you become you in so many other places. You can take all of those tools and use them for everything. Yeah. But if you start with sex, it gives you a tangible thing that you can say, okay, I want to fix my life here. You can have a better heart. I laugh. I have one cry and laugh episode every day, minimum one, where I can't, like, I have to hold my head and make my body long so I can get all the air that I can get. Like, and so that is because I know that I am happy. I'm happy in who I am. I'm sexually satisfied. I can satisfy myself if I'm not sexually satisfied. Like, and I've been able to do that my whole life. So I've been able to be me during this no matter who I was dealing with, no matter what relationship I was in, I was always able to be me because I know who I am and I know what I like and I know what I want. And I'm not scared to try nothing. Right. Bro, let's do it again.
Yes. Let's do it again. I've always thought, from the first time we met, I just thought that you were just very sure of yourself. I mean, you've got to be in this work, and, the space that you create for people is just, I think it's just powerful. And not everyone has had those lengths of expansion, not everyone, because everybody's fucking working. They're tired. They're trying to pay bills. Like, sex is, and be black safely somehow. And, it's like, when do I have time to, go out there, find community for these feelings that I'm having or this experience that I'm having?
You have to do it though. Like, even when you think about, do I have time? You don't have time to do anything. Everything you do, you make time to do.
Everything you do, you make time to do.
Every single thing. You could lay in the bed all day.
You made the time to do that.
Everything you do, you make the time to do. So you have to decide, this is important to me. I have to make the time to do this. And especially if it's going to be something that's going to feed you. Having a community is fruitful. It is being able to have a place to go. Like, my friends will just show up and be like, look at my booty. Can you tell me what is this in here? And here I am, they on all fours, and I'm looking in their butthole trying to see what's going on. That's my friend. I need to know what's going on. So, like, you need to have a place. Once you do that work and you make the time, it pays off. You get the good from it.
First of all, I'm just thinking about your friend and you looking at her booty. Allow me to catch. I'm just thinking of somebody in doggy style.
Listen, and like, I'm like, look at the bottom. Okay, well, I don't.
You moving cheeks to the side and stuff. That's hilarious. But you're right. I spent a lot of time the last couple years in a nursing home. And people were so sad. And I saw old people crying. And it was the most heartbreaking thing. And when you have those experiences, it changes you forever. And so that with like what I've been, my own journey, and then like finding space on TikTok for where I feel like I have similar, content interest and things like that. You find these people who are Black women who are, either not in a relationship or they're just coming into themselves, like with their sexual identity, and just not knowing like how to start going down the street with it. Like, how do I start?
So let's talk about that, because for Black people, how did your sex start? Like, for us here, how did sexuality begin?
Mine started with an older friend touching me, a girl.
Same. So mine started with me being introduced in a way that when I was not prepared. Right. And so we have that. But let's go even further back. Let's look at our mothers and our grandmothers. Like, they were property. Damn. Our men were property. We were bred. You didn't. So when would you have started that journey? I did a story about this for Healthline in the 60s when they were going through the free love movement. During the 60s when they had their titties out and they was smoking weed and putting flowers in their ears, we were fighting for our lives. We were having dogs sicked on us. So they were fighting for love. We were fighting for life. So That whole movement, that whole free love movement happened at the exact same time the civil rights movement happened.
I didn't ever put those two and two together.
So when would we have ever been introduced to the idea of pleasure? We went from slavery to being bred to being raped.
Damn.
From slavery to our parents being property to the men that they owned, to the men that they were with because they couldn't have bank accounts. They couldn't have, and those men were slaves to the market. Like they had to work. They couldn't be loitering. Right. It was, and they passed laws for Black women to work. Yes. There was never a period in life where we had the option to not work. Right. So we're talking about a collection of workers, right, who are still fighting for their lives to care about their sexual health.
Yeah.
And that is my biggest hurdle, is convincing Black people that your sexual health is important when they're trying to just stay alive.
I mean, because how? If you're worried about feeding your babies, if you're worried about...
Have you ever sat across a Black woman who was pregnant and was scared for her fucking life to go have a baby? Like, she was scared. She's like, I might die. Like, so even bringing life into this world could be dangerous. They don't have the time. They don't have the space. How can you? So I have to okay, I know that, and I know that that's important, but you need to get these little semblances of happiness. And you have to figure out how to get them, how to control them, how to bring them in. And so for us, we think that happiness is you're supposed to wake up like that.
Yeah.
You're supposed to just wake up.
That's how social media makes it look.
Yeah, you're supposed to wake up, get ready with me, put on some cute clothes, put on rouge. No, that shit don't look like that. Yeah. All of that is a decision. That when you watch those people, and that's why I say, when I talk about depression, I know that it is a powerful thing, but I also always say, when you are ready, start taking care of yourself. That's how you get out of it. Figure out how to take care of yourself. So when I'm sad, I know what I'm supposed to eat. I don't necessarily eat that. So when it's time for me to get my shit together, it's time for me to get some yogurt and some granola. Because I've been eating Ted's wings, which I'm going to go get today. Which I'm finna go get today.
But, yeah, that last night. Okay.
But when you're not taking care of yourself. And so when you see people getting up, putting on that makeup, seeing this, know that this is a decision. Like, I woke up to do this, to take care of myself, because this makes me feel good. So you have to find those things that make you feel good and use them when you feel bad. That's what we think when we feel bad. We're just supposed to feel bad. Like, damn, this is a bad day and I'm sad and all this. Like, no, go have a coffee, go sit at the lake, go for a walk, go poot in a mall and see who reacts. Like, do whatever makes you happy and give yourself those dopamine boosts, because that's what they're for. We train those our reward system is a trainable mechanism. So if we tell our bodies, this is a reward for us, we like this, our bodies will be like, okay, we're going to go hiking. She like when we do this, we're going to be hiking.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah.
That's what your body, it's a trainable mechanism. So you have to train it by giving it the things that it likes, especially when you sad.
Right.
Especially when you sad.
I went to have dinner this weekend by myself.
Okay.
And it was very interesting, Catasha. I
eat by myself all the time, and I'm married. God will leave Bruce at home so fast. I love you, babe.
Well, it wasn't so much that. It was, I was hungry and I wanted to eat. I was an extrovert pre-pandemic, but I don't think I am anymore. And but what I was going for was to be social. But I had my phone. It was going dead. So I put the food in my mouth. I kind of scarfed it down. I was like, I walked to the bar. There were too many people there. There were no open spots. I was like, all right, I'm looking weird. I'm finna walk out. So I walked out. And
because you thought you were looking weird.
I did. I was like, they know I'm alone.
Oh, God, no.
And I texted my friend. I was like, okay, I want to go out. I want to be around people today. And no one's available, so I'm going to go by myself. And I don't want to talk myself out of this. So I need you to check back with me in a couple hours to see what the fuck I'm doing. And so she did. It was good. I got dressed. I went to a place that I had been before, so it wouldn't be like, completely shocked. I knew the layout, knew the format. I didn't struggle with this before the pandemic. Like I could go somewhere by myself, and it wasn't. When I say go somewhere, I mean like go to a social place, not like just a restaurant like McAllister's or something like that, right. But like a social place where people are standing up, they're drinking, conversing, whatnot. And, my friend was like, she likes to people watch. So she said it wouldn't be hard for her, but it was difficult. It was outside of my box.
How did you feel when you got done?
That's a good question. So I felt good, but I was disappointed. I was disappointed that I didn't stay longer because what I ultimately went for, I didn't get.
Okay.
But I did a little bit. And that's just me being hard on myself. But yeah, it's like somebody said this on TikTok, and it was this woman, she said, I love how I can find my people on TikTok, but where are these people in real life?
They were there. They're always there. So the thing that stopped you from having fun was you. It was no one else. It was you. It was all the things that you thought that everybody was thinking about you, and that, you were going to be uncomfortable and weird. I don't give a fuck about looking weird. I will sit here and look weird. Okay. So that's definitely something that. But like you did. Okay. So for me, it is not an issue. Girl, I will go when I say I'm hungry, I'm not going through no drive-through. I'm finna go sit down and cross my legs and eat my food like an adult. Like I don't have to scarf nothing or do nothing. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to eat because that's what the fuck this place is for. But it is that you concerned about the outside, like what everybody else is going to do. Like you came for you have fun for you.
I did.
So like when you do that, I'm very proud that you did do that. And I'm very proud that you were very cognizant of how you felt. Yeah. But understand that those were not your feelings. You're wearing what you think everybody thought of you when you went out. What you thought that everybody was thinking, seeing you walking by yourself. I don't give a fuck what y'all. You should be looking at me. So when I'm not conceited, okay? But you should absolutely be looking at me because I got dressed to come in here. Yeah. Take it all in. You need me to stop? You need me to pose, turn to the side? Do you want to see this fat old ass? You need all of it? But seriously, like, I am so unbothered by those people because those people don't know who they are. Even if they did think that about me, they don't know who they are. That's why they're worried about me. How much are you getting paid to be concerned with me? Not a goddamn dime. Right. So I don't have no reason to be concerned about what you think about me when I know me way better than you know yourself.
So how about this? I went somewhere not too long ago for drinks, and I think I got hit on.
It probably happens all the time.
What? Like I literally, like, after it happened, I was like, wait a minute, did I just get hit on?
Right, it happens all the time. It happens to me all the time.
What? I didn't get the memo, and so I didn't know right then, and so I was like, fuck, that's wild. Like I didn't even know. I feel like I was being awkward.
But at least you figured it out later. Like, what if you never figured it out? What if you never realized somebody just had a kitty on your shoulder and you were just like, I don't even know. Like, so again, that's going to happen. And so that doesn't happen because of how you look. It happens because of how you present. Mm. When you are confident and you walk into a space and you just exist in that space, people are going to be attracted to you. Like, even if they're not attracted to you, like sexually or whatever, like you're going to make friends. Everywhere I go, I make friends.
I know you do. And I would love to be a fly on your shoulder and walk around to hear your conversations.
Listen, and they be wild conversations, but like, I'm just living. I'm just walking and living. And so
I love that about you.
There is a confidence in knowing who you are. And like, that started before I was in. People used to always tell me I was sexy. Even before I knew what that meant, people would say, like, you're sexy, like, you're very sexy. Mm-hmm. And so I never considered myself pretty or beautiful, but I always considered myself sexy. Like, it took me getting out of high school. Because, when you were in high school, like, I didn't have no boyfriends or nothing, but, like, I didn't have no boyfriends because I was a boy.
You're a side boy?
Like, no, I wasn't, but I could fight. And, like, I used to rag. And so I was one of the guys. Like, I dressed like a girl, but, like, I was one of the guys. And so, like, I would get friend zoned all the time. Like if I liked the dude, he would be like, yeah, that's the homie. I'm like, damn. But then it was like when I came into my energy and I was like, okay, well, let's roll on this a little bit. Let's roll on that sexy. I rolled on that sexy and then I became beautiful. And then I became pretty. Like just from leaning on the thing that I already had. And so once you become confident and comfortable in yourself, it raises a whole nother awareness of you that other people can smell and feel, and they want to be attracted to it. They want to be, it is, I don't know how to say this without sounding cocky, but like people are always trying to be near me. They want to be near me. I love that. I want you to want to be near me. I want to be a light. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. And so that happened. I didn't bring that. I didn't ask for that. That just happened because I became myself. I became into myself. Right. So once you start moving through your own space, and that is me knowing that no matter how fat somebody think I am, no matter how bald my edges is or whatever, I could suck a fucking avocado through a metal straw. Play with somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, play with somebody else.
Please play with somebody else.
So I don't care. Yeah. I don't care what you think. I know when I'm throwing that thing back, my husband is back there looking at, in his mind, the baseball cards and his grandma and all that, trying to hold out. Like, I know what I'm doing. So like that don't make me care what other people think about me, outside or inside, because you just don't know. And yo bad, shit.
Yo bad. I mean, I feel like I could talk to you all day. And I feel like we talked about a lot, but there's this part about the needs part that I really want to hone in on, because it's just, hearing the numbers, but also just knowing my own journey and then knowing what I see on TikTok, like it's sad. And I feel like even in my own life, like I want to make pleasure a priority. I don't think that's been.
Please do.
I don't think that's been
even at the forefront of your mind.
No, it's not been at the forefront. It's not been it has not been where it needs to be. Okay. And I think that's huge, because when you talk about depression, you talk about all these things, fucking recession, all this shit, and we have this free, level of like medicine and in pleasure.
Yes.
How can you do that when things aren't perfect?
So the best thing that you could do is I keep a notepad on my phone of all the things that I like to do. My favorite ice creams, my favorite place. Every time I be like, ooh, I want to try this place, I write it down. Mm-hmm. And so when I don't feel good, I go to that place. Mm-hmm. I go to that list and I pick one of the things on the list. Okay, I'm gonna go get ice cream. Oh, I'm gonna go to the lake and watch the sunset. Oh, I'm gonna go draw. Like, and if that don't work, I'll do something fucking else. And that's the thing about self-care and needs, is that we tell ourselves that we only need a little bit. You can have as much fucking self-care as you want. Mm-hmm. You can do 1,000,000 things a day if you want to. Mm-hmm. You make the time for it, but you absolutely have to make time for some of it. Some of it throughout the day has to be about you, especially if you're a mother, if you're a teacher, if you're a nurse. Those are jobs that nobody's gonna ever ask you, are you okay? Mm-hmm. So whose job is that? You have to make that your job.
Yeah, you have to.
And then once you start taking care of yourself to the level that you want to be taken care of, the people around you will take care of you in the same manner. Mm. Like that, my friends, I have a lot of best friends. I got way more than the regular people. But like through my process with my mother dying recently, and through that process, I've had so much help that I never really even had to ask for. I just go to them and I'd be crying and they'd be like, what we need to do? I go like that, having those kinds of resources and knowing what you need when you are sad and being able to make the steps to go get it and not wait for somebody to bring you the happiness is the key to your happiness. Mm-hmm. You are allowed to take care of yourself if you don't feel bad. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you feel bad. Yeah, you are allowed to go out and do things just for you if you don't feel good. Mm. If you are depressed, if you are sad, if you're lonely, go out, get in the mix, get dressed up, smush them titties together and go get in the mix. Mm-hmm. Like there's always things that you know that you like to do, but you just don't think to do them when you're sad. You just think you're supposed to be sad. Right. Or you need medicine. But you have medicine right at your fingertips. Mm-hmm.
And that's nothing against people who actually take medicine.
Well,
it's just,
I absolutely, hold on, because I do believe that you should be taking medicine if you need it, because sometimes people are a danger to themselves, to the people around them. And so until you learn how to do that on your own, you absolutely take medicine, because you need to be here.
Right.
I don't give a damn how you can snort coke if that's going to keep you here until you figure it out. Like, I am 1000% about do what you need to do to stay here, to figure it out. But your job is to figure it out. Mm-hmm. Don't just stay here to be here. Stay here to figure that shit out.
Right. I love that. I think that this was so beautiful. I know that we've just touched on it, you know.
I know. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so glad. I'm hoping that, you know, I'm looking forward to the feedback that we get. Y'all let me know, like, what you thought about this. And I can't wait to just see what people say, like, after we put it out there, because this was, I think, out of my comfort zone a little bit. Like, I didn't know, like, I had some things to ask, but I didn't really know, you know. Yeah. But I think it went beautiful. So I'm so thankful that you came today.
Thank you.
So where can we go follow you, Catasha? Where can we go connect with you online?
Oh, okay. So I have my own website, expressionoverrepression.com. It's on most social media. My name is Catasha, Catasha. On my Instagram, it'll be a picture of me and a big dildo. That's me and Clinton. So you in the right place if you see that. But yeah, you can pretty much follow me anywhere. Facebook, LinkedIn, FetLife, whatever. I have accounts on everything.
Because you have a book coming out, right?
I do. I have. So I had a book last year called Headhunter's Guide. Okay. That was about fellatio. And so this year I have a book called Headhunter's Guide, Ode to the Munch. Ooh. That's coming out about coochies and, you know, how to please coochies. And so that'll be out on April the 21st. I'm super excited. I'm drawing up all the coochies now for the book. So
I saw that on your stories.
Yeah, I'm drawing up the stuff, trying to figure out which one I want. Like, book writing is such a weird thing because, like, there's a process people tell you, but that's not my process. I just be doing shit. And then turn into a great book. And so hey.
Well, you're going to have to, you know, share it.
I definitely will.
When you're done. I'm excited about that. So y'all go follow Catasha. Buy her stuff.
Buy my stuff.
Buy her stuff. And she also posts the funniest stories every day on Instagram. Please go do yourself a favor and follow her stories.
Like, that's a part of my life. I make time to do that.
Yes, I know. And I enjoy it.
I sit and find the funny one. I'm like, oh, I'm going to share this one. And yeah.
They be so funny, girl.
I'm all about happiness and pleasure and life. Like, I'm about living life. So
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that and spreading that today.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Thanks for hanging out. Thoughts About That was brought to you by the Possibilities Podcast platform.